As we all know, Donald Trump is a man of the people. He loves our soldiers, at least the ones who weren't caught. He's a huge fan of the American flag. Sometimes you'll even catch him humping it into submission. And he loves the cops. Oh, does he love the police. He will stand up in favor of the police anytime an innocent black man is killed, and other times won't say very much. It's interesting how he's such a huge fan of the cops. Such a fan, in fact, that on January 6th of 2021, he incited a riot, a huge riot, a coup, an attack on our nation's capital and the very foundation of our democracy. One where his crazy Camp Auschwitz t-shirt wearing lunatic fringe forced their way beyond barriers into the Capitol, attacked Capitol Police, 150-something in the end injured in all sorts of horrific ways, lost eyes, PTSD, concussions, broken bones. Yeah, Donald Trump called all this to action on purpose. This is what he wanted. We know that now. When he was indicted just the other day on 4 charges, including obstructing official proceedings and other ways to attack our democracy, it's very interesting, the reaction of one particular cop, as Donald Trump claims he loves them. You may know Michael Fanone, who's one of the cops on duty at the Capitol that day, a DC Metro policeman. Michael Fanone was an honorable public servant, a cop who had been on the job for a long time. That day, on January 6th, he was assaulted by rioters, dragged down the Capitol steps, beaten with pipes, stunned with a taser. He suffered traumatic brain injuries and post-traumatic stress disorder as a result. And he did what any honorable public servant would do that day, risked his life to protect the seat of our democracy, to protect members of Congress, while Donald Trump watched on a TV and cheered and chortled and chugged cheese puffs as these men had their lives changed, for a few of whom eventually died. Michael Fanone had a really interesting reaction the other day when he found out that Trump had been indicted on these 4 charges. His response was, quote, "Donald Trump spent his entire lifetime fucking around, and he's about to find out. I'd like to think that in some small way I played a part in all this." You did, Officer Fanone, and thank you for that. But more interesting, and I think more to the point, Michael Fanone said he got the feeling when Trump was indicted that it was the same as when Osama bin Laden was killed, calling them both terrorists.
When I first learned about the indictment, I had a long conversation with a friend of mine, Ryan Riley, and I told him how proud I felt to be an American at that moment. Much in the way that I did when I learned that our military had killed Osama bin Laden. I just felt incredibly proud.
These two seem comparable to you?
Incredibly proud to have been.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but why that comparison in particular?
I believe they're comparable.
In what way?
Absolutely. Osama bin Laden was a terrorist who committed a horrific act against American people and against our republic. And I believe that Donald Trump is a terrorist who committed horrific acts against the American people.
You can imagine that is a very eyebrow-raising statement, to say the least, the notion of Osama bin Laden in comparison to Donald Trump. It likely speaks to just how deeply you have been concerned and have felt about all of this. But are you concerned that statements like that, or the rhetoric surrounding what his role has been, is going to cloud people's view of this indictment as a fair process?
I think that the only person or people whose view matters with regards to this indictment are the jurors who will eventually be sat and listen to the facts and ultimately make a judgment as to whether or not Donald Trump is guilty of the charges that Jack Smith and the Department of Justice have brought forward.
Wow. Osama bin Laden was a terrorist who was more successful in murdering Americans, although if you take into account Donald Trump, the studies have shown that up to 200,000 or more people died because he ignored COVID. But the comparison to bin Laden from a decorated officer is quite, I think, the accurate one. That this lazy, Fox News injecting, Cheeto snorting guy that lies on a sofa and does no work and lies to the people that follow him again and again, including that day they got them to attack, maim, and kill police officers, is an awful person that police officers should not love. And we need more like Mr. Fanone to come out and make clear their thoughts on him. because Donald Trump is still fooling part of the country that he's this big law and order guy, as he now has 80-something criminal counts against him in 3 different indictments. Let me read you one final quote from Michael Fanone to sum it up. I don't expect anybody to give 2 shits about my opinions, but I will say this. Those are lies. This is him referring to the MAGA GOP and how they responded to what happened on January 6th, including Donald Trump. But I will say this, those are lies. And peddling that bullshit is an assault on every officer that fought to defend the Capitol. It's disgraceful. That's right. MAGA Republicans like Trump and Marge and Kevin McCarthy, Ted Cruz and the rest of them, the only lives that matter to these motherfuckers are their political lives. Remember that.